Going live. We are live. Hey, hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, have you guys ever seen the film School of Rock?
Yes, with Jack Black.
With Jack Black, yeah. So over the weekend, I was hanging out with my friend's partner and goddaughter. My goddaughter's 2.5. And her mother turned to her and asked her, "Hey, do you know what's the meaning of rock and roll?" And she, in the cutest, softest voice, she says, "Stick it to the man." I'm like, yes, my goddaughter, yes, love you.
Doing it right.
Doing it right. Stick it to the man.
Oh, that's really good. We've tried to get my daughter to watch that movie probably 5 times, and she's just like, "I don't want to watch that, Dad. No thanks."
Oh, it's so good.
I know.
I'm a huge Jack Black fan, though. The only thing Jack Black has done that I don't like is the Luchador movie.
Oh, Nacho Libre?
Nacho Libre. Yeah, I love the idea. I love luchadors and stuff, but it was like, this is fine.
It was a movie that was not for me. It was like I was the wrong age for Napoleon Dynamite when Napoleon Dynamite came out, right? And it felt very Napoleon Dynamite to me in a completely different setting, completely different way, but the same kind of like weird non sequiturs and stuff.
I totally agree. But Napoleon Dynamite did do it for me, and that one just didn't for some reason. It's pretty much the only Jack Black. Like I even love like Jumanji 2 and stuff like that, whatever one he's in.
I never saw that. I saw I like Pick of Destiny is an all-time favorite, and I mean, Jack, he was my favorite part of the 3rd season of Mandalorian. Like that weird the Lizzo Jack Black panic. I'm there for it.
I never saw the 3rd season.
Almost forgot.
But now
that.
I have to.
Just watch that episode. The rest of it's meh.
Just for Jack Black, right?
Yeah.
I was like, my goddaughter learned that quote before peaches.
Oh,
You know?
Oh man. Oh he was also the best part of that movie. Well, Charlie Day's good too. Charlie Day Luigi's also okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rest of it I'm kind of I guess Seth Rogen Donkey Kong also okay. But anyway. Yeah, we should Lewis Law says we should call today's the full beard.
The full beard. I'm only a scruff right now. I don't know how to grow beards like you guys. I just can't. Even for like a month I tried, like just not shaving for a month. I can't grow anything.
So mine didn't connect from the top to the sides until I was probably 30, 32. Like I was late in my tenure at Maximum PC when I was like, I'm going to try a beard, and it actually worked. And then I was like, oh, I have red hair. I had no idea. I never knew. Nothing like discovering.
Same here. I get red-haired in my beard during the summer.
Oh yeah. Well, mine back before children, mine was bright red, and now it's just kind of sandy blonde, and mostly gray.
I had full mutton chops in 5th grade, like freaking.
Wow, really?
Whoa.
Yeah, like crazy style. Not the mustache, but the full on the side. And then by the time I was just into high school, I had like at least a chin strap beard, and I've had that my entire life.
I remember when 90210 was popular. I was like, man, I wish I could grow sideburns. Never could grow sideburns. It was never for me. So,
have you guys ever had mullets?
Mullets were very popular in Northeast Tennessee, where I grew up as a youth, and I did not. I always avoided the mullet successfully. I had a floppy skater cut when I was in high school, I think is what you would call it now.
Mine was pretty nuts when I was younger. I had my mutton chops, like running around. I was 18, 20. I had my hair, it's long and curly, parted down the middle. I dyed half black, half orange.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then I had a long, like, beard, like just right here, but I shaved it in the middle, so I had 2 long bits on either side of my chin. And I dyed it black and orange in the opposite color, and then braided it. That was me when I was 20. And I had the Toyota version of a VW bus, and I spray painted it, so it was all hippie-like and stuff. And I got pulled over a lot.
I can imagine you were very popular with the police.
Very.
The Toyota vans, man. I always see the van campers because, like, where I lived down by the beach, and we get a lot of like Toyota vans. And there's 2 types of campers. There's the ones that like to work on their cars and they buy the Volkswagens, and there's the ones that just like to drive and they buy the Toyotas. It seems like you often see the back of the VW, the old VW vans, like cracked open, and everybody I know who has one of those is like, yeah, I got real good at working on the car, it turns out.
Because it sucks.
Yeah, because they're busted. Frequently broken. But
Mine got a cracked engine block, and I couldn't afford to fix it when I was 20 years old.
Oh,
so,
that sucks. Yeah, that's a banger. A friend of the show, Robbie Baldwin, who used to work with us. I think he did freelance over here too for a while. But he does electric car stuff now. I think he was excited because he gets to try the new electric Volkswagen bus, the Buzz. I'm very curious about that. Seems very fun.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I haven't talked to him in a while, ever since he dropped off Twitter.
You should come to Blue Sky. You know, when Elon Musk kicked all the Brazilians off of Blue Sky last week, off of Twitter last week, they all came to Blue Sky and they had like 3 million signups in like 5 days, I think there. It's people are coming to Blue Sky again. So
it's been kind of great ever since Twitter got nuts. I just am on social media less because I'm never really someone to be on Facebook and stuff. And it's kind of nice having hours of my day back to myself.
Look, there's a benefit to not being extremely online, it turns out. And the benefit is you're a little bit less crazy and a little more happy.
Well, thank goodness I never got hooked onto Twitter and all that stuff. But speaking of people coming together, we got all of the friends of the show on coming up on live chat right now. Hello, everyone. Lois Law, Steven Anderson, Matt, and yes, Kisayer, Davina, all the friends of the show are here today. We should get this kicked off.
Should we start a podcast?
We should start a podcast. It's just what was it 2.5 beard? We should just call this now.
This mic smells like Adam.
Adam does get pretty close to the mic.
He gets right up in there.
Don't start sniffing stuff like Adam does.
One cut.
Yep.
All right, Brad, why don't you take us in for the intro?
All right. Sure. All right.
Brad's leading today. He got this.
In this episode of The Full Nerd, yet more Intel bug news. Will Lunar Lake save Intel and Ryzen processors? All right. Welcome to Full Nerd, episode 315, I believe. I don't really keep track outside the milestones.
Yes, it is.
I'm Brad Charkis, filling in as the host this week, joined by Will Smith.
Hello.
And Willis Lai. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
Controlling the verticals and horizontals.
Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's actually Wednesday today.
I know.
We pushed back because we had a long like Labor Day weekend, so we just thought, oh, hey, you know what? Let's just catch up on some news and go right in on Wednesday instead. So
here we are.
Weird Wednesdays.
Well, I mean, it's holiday weekends. There's often not a lot of news. Mainly, I think, because everybody in the Bay Area just clears out and goes into the desert to get dusty. This is my favorite San Francisco weekend of the year is when all the hipsters go to Burning Man, and then you can go to brunch. You don't have to wait in line. Like you all the good food places are available. You can go to like the cool shopping market. They had a night market. Did you go to the night market? Did you see the night market?
I did not. I know of it though.
Yeah, we're doing San Francisco's doing night markets apparently. Like 20,000 people showed up to the one out in the Sunset last week. So
nice.
It's a good time of year in the Bay.
Yeah, it was great. My brother visited this weekend for our 10-year anniversary of our fantasy football draft. And we were going out downtown Friday and Saturday night. Usually you have to wait for 2 hours. Wow, my camera just freaked out. But we were able to get in anywhere sitting by ourselves. It's great. I love going out on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, it's a good weekend to do some stuff outside. Which is why there's hardly any tech news, it turns out, I think.
Yeah. Which, it's a good thing we waited till Wednesday because now we got 3 things to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if folks on the internet, you're wondering where Adam and Alex are right now, they're in Germany covering the IFA event, and they are, they'll probably be doing the Full Nerd episode over in Germany next week. So make sure to tune in for that. Yeah, but
that's fun.
Yeah, while talking about IFA, we have actually not there yet, but there are Intel related news. What do we have, Brad?
All right, yeah. The end of last week, Friday afternoon, I think it was. We didn't actually cover it on the site because they announced it so late that us and everybody were getting out early for the holiday. So we said, and why bother? Sorry, readers. But Intel released some news last week that didn't really have news beyond what they said in the past, but confirmed which chips are not affected by the voltage bug, which they actually gave a name in this post. So we have a name for it now.
Yeah, that was the first time I think I saw a name for it, right? They're calling it the VMIN shift instability issue.
Yeah. That's a very technical, just, hopefully people don't call it that kind of thing.
Yeah, rolls off the, it's a VSII, clearly, we're familiar. We got this under,
take pills for that, I think.
The prescription only, though, and lots of disclaimers. I mean, they've said this before, but they were now that all the Lunar Lake stuff came out this week, we know why they were so insistent that this problem isn't going to affect Arrow Lake. It doesn't affect Arrow Lake. Isn't going to affect Lunar Lake, which is good. But the unaffected products list I thought was interesting because I wasn't expecting the fact that they're saying 13th and 14th gen i5 and i3s are clear as long as they're non-Ks was new. Yeah. I think.
They had hinted at that in the past. They had not firmly said it in this way, but they danced around it. They had said that Core i5 K SKUs are affected in Core i7 and 9. So this is basically saying the same thing in the opposite way.
Got it. And then it's 14th and 13th gen mobile processors, including HX series is clear. Xeon and Core Ultra Series 1 processors. What are Core Ultra Series 1? Are they're heavy duty?
Meteor Lake.
Okay. And then the 12th gen is all clear, it seems like.
Yeah. I find it interesting that the 13th and 14th series HX processors aren't affected.
Which ones?
There's a lot of speculation about that because those use the same Raptor Lake cores that the desktop ones use. So I was kind of expecting those to be affected, but here they've said it before, but here they're definitively say it again. They're not affected.
I wonder if it's because of because they're mobile, they're doing more aggressive power management, probably, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, the big thing here was that there's a name for this finally, which I think is the exciting thing.
Yeah. And I think it's good that they finally, like I was saying, they danced around all this stuff and all the drip drops of information before, but it's good to have the list of here's what's specifically not affected, so people can rest easy.
Yeah, and they closed with, hey, here's the thing to do if you have a 13th or 14th gen processor that is affected, which hasn't changed. It's to run the latest BIOS, use the Intel default settings recommendation, and hope that you haven't damaged it already. This weekend, I did see a couple of people posting that said, "Hey, I did the microcode update as soon as it came out, and I'm having problems now." And there people had been running their processors from before the microcode, and there's nothing to say that if you degraded your process, if your processor got degraded before the new microcode came out, there's nothing to say you're not going to have a problem. The thing we haven't seen is anybody who started with a new processor with the new microcode and then has had issues after that. We're still waiting to see if that happens.
Yeah, this can still crop up, but they did, just to remind everybody, they did extend warranties by an extra 2 years, so I think it's 5 years total.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether you bought it through a pre-built or through a tray or DIY. So if you do run into issues with that, they say they'll swap it out. Gamers Nexus has said that hasn't necessarily been as easy as they've implied in the past based on what they're hearing from their viewers. But theoretically, if you do start running into issues, you should be able to swap it out.
I've heard both ways. I've heard, hey, this was way easier than I expected. And then I've also heard, wow, they really made me jump through some hoops to get this done. And yeah, so your mileage may vary, I guess. But hopefully this is the last time we have to talk about this. Hopefully it's done. Hopefully more problems don't come up. Hopefully we can just, put the VMIN instability issue. Is that what it is? VMIN
shift instability.
Yeah. Hopefully we can leave this all behind us now that we have a name. Yeah. I don't know.
We have the pills. We can clear up our VSII. I'm going to be really interested to see reviews when Arrow Lake does come out this year, because I presume that usually, if you compare, they don't call it 15th gen, but it'll be 15th gen core processors with Arrow Lake, where obviously the benchmarks are going to include last year's stuff. Between making default settings recommendations, which severely draws back power, the new standard, and which is good, and this Windows 11 Ryzen update adding so much performance to Zen CPUs, I think we might see a dramatic shift in the gaming rankings.
Yeah, I mean it's well, and also I wonder. I'm really curious. I mean, I guess we're transitioning into Lunar Lake talk, but I'm really curious how Windows is going to be optimized for the new architecture on the Intel side. Because when AMD shifted to this kind of architecture a few years ago, it was a while. Like it's. I mean, we're just now seeing the end of it now, presumably with the update that that Microsoft rolled out last week. So, is Intel going to have the same kind of growing teething pains here, or is this going to come? Are they going to come out of the gate full speed and we're not going to unlock more performance from these processors as time goes on?
I suspect that is probably fine already because they did a lot of work with the thread director over the first 2 generations where they introduced it. So I suspect it'll be fine. But yeah, I agree. Yeah. Interesting times.
Yeah. Should we talk about? You want to talk about Lunar Lake? Should we get into it?
Let's dive in.
Sure. You want to start it off, Will?
Yeah, so a couple of months ago, I guess now at Computex, Intel gave us hey, here's what Lunar Lake is. They didn't really talk about a lot of performance, and they kind of dipped in. I don't think we need to get. I don't have slides, but they talked about the actual configuration of the chips. They talked about. It seems like, interestingly, everything has the same number of performance cores. This was something I was kind of surprised by on the mobile parts, at least. And then the things that change is the clock goes up about 200 megahertz per speed bump. The chart that they showed on the deck is kind of a nightmare. It's like 12 layers deep. And everything starts, the numbering scheme is new now for the Core Ultra 200. So it's all of these chips, all these Lunar Lake chips are going to start with 200 and end with 2 and end with V. And then the incremental numbers are going to tell you how fast it is in between. And then the only other thing that changes is the number of Xe2 cores in the GPU, right?
Yep. It's actually, I think it's a lot more simple than it was before.
You think?
Yeah, because everything is the exact same amount of cores. They all get 4 efficiency cores. They all get 4 performance cores. The more money that you spend will get you either 16 or 32 gigabytes of RAM because it's soldered on this time around.
It's in the die, right? It's in the package.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. It is. Yeah. It's a huge shift. But they say that's what helped them save all kinds of power efficiency, gain so much power efficiency. And they made pains of saying this does not mean this is the standard from now on from Intel. This is what we decided is best for this specific product because we're looking to make very efficient, long-lasting with Lunar Lake. So we don't expect to see that in gaming laptops in the future.
Or desktops for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're testing the waters, Brad. They're testing the waters.
Yeah. It makes sense here. They also took away hyper-threading for the same reason. They said it helped them gain efficiency. So
I mean, with the number of cores that are in these processors, I think when we had two cores in a processor, having hyperthreading seemed like it was impactful and important. I think as we get to 18 and 24 cores in some cases on the big desktop parts, it seems like it's less important these days, right?
Yeah, I don't sweat it. And especially because the efficiency cores in particular are vastly more performant than they were on Meteor Lake, which only had, I think it depended on the SKU because that one was much different. But these don't have hyperthreading, but they're much more performant and power efficient. So I think these are actually going to wind up testing pretty well. Especially, they made a big deal about the gaming performance updates because these have the Xe2 architecture inside. It's the first time we're seeing that in the wild. I should try to get a laptop in to play with that. But and it looks huge. Like they're talking a good game. You gotta have to wait for independent benchmarks, of course, as we just saw with all of AMD's Ryzen fiasco.
Yeah.
But Xe2 looks great. They're claiming clear mobile gaming dominance, which again, these are still integrated graphics, but being able to play decent games at a decent clip on your laptop without discrete graphics, that's huge. I think I love that. And they're even like shooting shots fired and saying like, hey, we're more power efficient and more performant than AMD's graphics these days. So maybe consider us for gaming handhelds.
Xe2 is Battle Mage.
Yes.
What will be Battle Mage on desktops, right?
Correct. Yeah.
The other. So can we go back to the memory thing? Because I think.
Yeah.
Like my first reaction to this was, oh man, they're making Intel processors an SoC now, like a real SoC now. And this is scary to me. But then I also like Gordon did a thing a couple weeks ago where he compared 8 GB and 16 GB laptops to see if there was a performance difference and battery life difference. Really good video. You should go watch it. But I mean, the takeaway I took from that was with a good SSD in the laptop and 8 gigs of memory, maybe you're actually okay. And maybe the thing we've been giving Apple grief for shipping 8 gig default laptops for the last, I don't know, decade at this point probably is less bad than we thought it was, especially for like mobile kind of light productivity use laptops, not obviously for gaming or workstations or stuff like that. I mean, maybe 16 gigs, 32 gigs is enough, right?
Yeah, and those are your only options with these 16 or 32. So you're going to get at least 16 with Lunar Lake. But I agree 100%. I'd have been fine with an 8 gigabit SKU for this stuff like this, because to me, these Lunar Lake laptops are really targeting, like, they're the Qualcomm rivals. They're made to be power efficient. They're not for people who are going to upgrade their RAM and stuff like that. They're made for people who want a laptop who will last a day or two, slip into their backpack. And to me, like, if you're mostly slinging emails, doing Word projects, stuff like that, 8 gigabytes with an SSD is totally fine. 16 is going to be, I think, more than enough for those people.
Well, I mean, the Lunar Lake CPU was originally a 9-watt part. I think they said at some point in this presentation. I can't find the exact quote.
Yeah.
With options for vendors up to 35 watts, I think total. So that's CPU and GPU, which is like. Like what's the workstation version? Is there going to be what's the mobile workstation version of this? Is this still Arrow Lake or is this something else that we haven't seen yet?
They haven't firmly said, I don't think.
Okay.
But my strong hunch is that it will be a variant of Arrow Lake later this year.
Okay.
That's what we've seen in the past. Like the HX parts that are used for creator laptops and gaming laptops have always been different from their mainstream one. And I don't think this would fly in, especially gaming laptops, possibly creator laptops if you get 32 gig SKUs, but I could see them switch it to another architecture for that.
Well, I mean, with like GPU acceleration for video encodes, I have done a lot of like video work on a thin and light laptop, right? It's if you have enough RAM, suddenly Premiere is a viable thing, but yeah, you're not going to play games on that kind of thing. So. I don't know. Like this seems to me like they're going like this is the. I mean, obviously it's not a response because they've been working on it for 5 years at this point, but this is their answer to the Snapdragon X Elite. At this point,
that's 100% what I think. I'm actually super jazzed about it. Everything I see on paper looks good. This is clearly what they've been building to for a while, and I think I've said this on the show, but if not, I was at CES earlier this year when Meteor Lake was launching, and all the vendors there were like, "Yeah, we got Meteor Lake, but." Wait till Computex, wait till IFA. Lunar Lakes are what you're going to want. So, after seeing all these numbers that they threw out there, I think it looks super competitive in battery life and performance. I can't wait to start testing it out.
The other thing that I thought was really surprising about this is how little they talked about the AI, the Copilot Plus stuff. Like it's in here. They're like, hey, we meet the Copilot Plus 40 top standard, but maybe it's not being positioned as important to the future of the product as it was just a few months ago at Computex.
Yeah, Intel was ringing that bell hard in CES in the beginning of the year because Meteor Lake was the first laptop to have an NPU, and it turned out that little 10 tops NPU makes it so it's not even eligible for Copilot Plus.
Yeah.
So that generation, the first generation of AI PCs, were left behind 6 months after being introduced. But I just don't think that those are as a compelling of a draw for actual real world people that all the PC industry CEOs want it to be. We had a freelancer who works with us, Chris Hoffman. He does excellent work. He tested all the things out right after Copilot came out and did just an analysis, the Copilot Plus features. And he's like, yeah, like these feel like tech demos. Like there's no reason for me to actually use these in my day-to-day life, especially without Recall being available. And Recall has it's just been getting slammed for privacy reasons, privacy concerns. So a lot of people might not even want to use that. So they're like, Copilot Plus, like, who cares?
well, at Computex, it felt like they were like the people standing up on stage talking about this stuff were treating it like the second coming of Centrino, right? Like, hey, remember for the youngs out there, when Intel rolled out Centrino chipsets, which was basically a normal x86 chipset that had a Wi-Fi chip built in, and said, hey, you can use your laptop computer on the couch and be on the internet without having to like plug something in. That was a huge deal, and people went out and like that was the moment that we shifted from primarily home computers being a single desktop item to laptops being the primary home computer for a lot of people, non gamers mostly at the time. And the way they were talking about it was very clear that everybody from Microsoft on down was like, yeah, this AI stuff we're gonna move some units on this stuff because people are gonna want that AI. And then now we have enough data to know that nobody's bought, like people aren't buying them more than normal.
Even corporations,
so, yeah,
like Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot, whatever they call it. Everything's Copilot. They have 50 different Copilots. But a lot of the big businesses who jumped on the bandwagon early are now like, we don't know if we're going to keep this up because it's expensive to pay for every month, and we can't really point to actual productivity / dollar gains here. Yeah. Like it sounds good on paper, but who?
What's the big deal, man?
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot more interesting if we get to the point where there's like Llama or whatever local language models. Microsoft just made Xeon Phi, I think it's pronounced, to run locally. Like if I could run an AI locally to search through my local files and find information, stuff like that, because Windows search sucks. It always has sucked. If you could use that, I know not MSI. Was it MSI?
There's an NVIDIA thing that does that.
Lenovo. Yeah,
yeah.
RTX.
Yeah.
Yeah, RTX chat. But Lenovo was also working on that. And I think that could be a valid use case. Like run it locally, go through all my stuff, like find me what I read about this 2 years ago. What do I think about this? And it can spit it right back. But I think this is going to wind up hitting the trough of disappointment or whatever they call it in the
trough
Gartner
of despair.
Yeah.
Well,
but I'm still bullish long term. I think this is cool technology and it can be cool technology. I think they're just struggling to find practical applications.
I talked about this on the Tech Pod, so apologies for people who've heard it already, but I installed Llama on my machine the other day because I wanted to try some audio transcription stuff. And I was like, I had Llama installed. I was like, I'm going to see if Llama can do this, right? So I open it up, I fire it up, I say, hey, I have some audio files that are kind of long. I want to generate transcripts of them. And then I want to merge the two transcripts together because it's like my track, my co-host track. And Llama 3.5 is like, oh yeah, sure, I got you. Here's what you need to do. You need to tell me what the file, where the file is on your hard drive, what file type it is, what language it is, and what like level of accuracy you want on the transcript. I was like, oh wow, okay, this is easier than I expected. So I'll type all this stuff in.
Heck yeah. I had similar experiences with chat with RTX. To me, the real AI PCs, like it sounds like it might be being a bit of a NVIDIA shill, is having a GeForce card in your laptop or desktop. That's the real AI PC with practical.
So the problem with the Llama thing, though, is that then it's like, hey, it's going to take a while to run this. Is that okay? And you type yes. Okay. And it's like, okay, I'm going to start now. Just wait when you do this. And I was like, okay, I got it. I'm going to wait. No problem. I hit the button and like half a second later, it's like, okay, here you go. And it's like, here's the report. We did it. It took this long. The accuracy is this much. And here's a link to the file. And it had a line that said, insert file name here inside carrots. And I was like, well, there's no file. And it said, oh yeah, I can't actually do that. That's not a thing. I was just emulating what I would do if I could do that. And I was like, yep, that's the AI promise right there. And I know that Llama is not a tool for this, but anyway, here we go. Yeah.
Oh, that's annoying. That's so annoying.
I have never been as angry at a computer as I was right then, just to be clear.
Did you chuck it away?
Facebook
Lunar Lake can do this stuff.
Yeah.
Lunar Lake can do this stuff. It has the MPU in there. It has, I forget how many tops, but between 45 and 50. Or 40 and 50.
Well, it varies, I think, based on the core too and the clock speeds, it seems like.
Yeah.
So
that's the interesting part. There's actually a couple of the lower SKUs aren't compatible with Copilot Plus because the MPU isn't fast enough on the lower SKUs.
I mean, and just to be clear, I slag AI stuff a lot because a lot of it's kind of goofy. But I think that the stuff like the voice transcription and the image like the object recognition in images and some of that stuff is incredibly useful. Like there's something really, really nice about being able to search your photo gallery for pictures of the dog and just say, hey, I want pictures of the dog, and it knows what a dog is, right? Like that's useful. So
I've been doing that in Google Photos for 7 years now, I think, though. So,
I mean, there is that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it runs on your phone now if you have the right kind of phone. So anyway, I think for me, the thing that's interesting about the MPUs is that we're going to have parity on the all PCs. Like in 5 years, all of our PCs will have the same functionality that our phone has in terms of the NPU processing stuff. Right.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah. So Lunar Lake's looking good. One part that really cracked me up, they're talking about the gaming chops, and they did a chart showing how much faster Lunar Lake and Battle Mage are compared to Qualcomm Snapdragon, and it blows the pants off them as it should.
Well, yeah. They tested more than 1,200 games, I bet, too.
They included a bit in that slide, a big call out that said 23 games wouldn't even run on Qualcomm.
Well, yeah. Qualcomm shouldn't have ever talked about games. This is flying too close to the sun there, man.
No.
Yeah, I think for me, this made me I'm interested. I don't know if they said when we're going to see hardware on this, but I'm really interested in seeing some like actual real world benchmarks from reviewers on these.
I think it's end of the month.
Okay.
I think it's like September 24th. Yeah, September 24th.
That's correct.
Pre-orders are open now. Just want to remind everybody, never pre-order, especially first-gen products like this kind of is. So, yeah, just putting that shout out there once again.
Yeah, wait until reviews. And they did actually use real games. Like, I mean, I know Dota 2's in here, but they have some Cyberpunk, like playable frame rates on Cyberpunk, which I thought was exciting. So.
Yeah, what was it? Mark talked about it. Mark Hockman is out there along with Adam and Alex to do this stuff. He went and saw it. Let me find it. He actually saw it. He said in 1080p medium settings with XeSS enabled, so that makes a difference. Lunar Lake laptops 60 to 70-ish frame rates in Cyberpunk. So Cyberpunk on medium getting 60 frames per second on integrated graphics. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's nothing to sneeze at. Better than your Qualcomm Elite X10, whatever they call it. I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic. Let's say.
Yeah, me too. I'm really looking forward. I think this will be good, but again, wait for benchmarks from not Intel.
Well, so speaking of things that probably aren't good, did you all see the thing about the counterfeit Ryzens?
Yeah, that's ugly.
I couldn't okay, so the story is this is DeBauer posted a video that there are elaborate Ryzen Zen 4 Ryzen 7 fakes
incredibly elaborate.
Like I mean, we've seen this before, right? Like making fake CPUs. This is a tale as old as time. I hadn't seen it in a minute though. But somebody bought a CPU from OLX, which is like an online marketplace in Europe. For $300. It was purported to be a 7800X 3D, and when he put it in his CPU in his PC, the PC didn't boot, and something was wrong. And then like you looked at it, and you should go watch the video. First, Bauer, good stuff generally.
He's great.
Yeah. Now it says the CPUs look very similar, but the only difference is the PCB is a different color. But also, the PCB's always been green on AMD CPUs for as long as I can remember. So a red PCB is kind of a warning sign, I guess. It's shocking that somebody went to this much work for 100. I mean, I guess it's not for 100 euros. I guess it's for 300 euros, which maybe makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because when we've seen these in the past, typically like it was with Intel chips, and all the heat spreaders look fairly interchangeable. You could swap them out, no problem, blah, blah, blah. What's interesting about this is like Ryzen X3D has that very distinct, different kind of heat spreader. Someone went to the trouble to custom mill all this stuff, have fake PCBs freaking made, put in fake spacers in there so it looked right. Like, it's incredibly complex.
Well, and it's like, I think on the Intel stuff, I feel like some of them were just because the heat spreaders were the same from generation to generation, people would just polish off the top and then re-etch the new thing on. and then they'd do some sort of BIOS hack or some sort of microcode hack or something that would make it report something that it wasn't, right? There's also
they would take like Core i3s and sell them as Core i9s or Core i7s.
Yeah. There's also a ton of like in these aftermarket sites, there's also a ton of like storage shenanigans. Like if you buy an external SSD, it's often a memory card reader. Often it'll report that it's a 32 gig drive, and then it only or a 300 gig drive, and it'll only have like 10 gigs of storage on it or 50 megs of storage on it in some cases. So Windows will try to write to it, and then it'll just fail for no reason.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of scams out there, but I hadn't seen a CPU scam in a minute. So
not this elaborate. Again, it hasn't been in the past, but not like this. But I think it's worth highlighting, and I'm glad Roman found this. And I echo what he said at the end. What this is if you're spending, $300 to $500 on a piece of complicated technological hardware, buy it from an established source. Buy it from Newegg. Buy it from Amazon. Buy it from Mind Factory if you're in Europe, et cetera, et cetera. Like, really be wary of the third-party sellers. And you got to be wary even when you're shopping on Newegg and Amazon, because a lot of that stuff is third-party sellers these days.
I mean, honestly, the Amazon stuff, I'm even nervous buying from Amazon now. You get enough stories of, hey, I bought this and when I put it in my PC, I bought a 4090. When I put it in my PC, I opened the box and it was a 2080 that somebody had returned. And when I called Amazon, they were like, "Well, pound sand. It doesn't feel great. It doesn't."
I had that happen to a hard drive back in the day. Like I bought a hard drive and it showed up just wrapped in plastic and all dinged up and was nowhere near what I bought. And it was supposed to have been new in box. And they're like, "Oh, don't know what happened there. My bad. Send it back."
Well, so the one thing I have heard from people is that if you get something and it ends up being not the thing that you ordered, instead of saying, "Hey, this is not the thing I ordered," you say, "I ordered something new in box and this was opened." Because if you say, "Hey, it wasn't the thing I ordered," then they think you're scamming them. If you say it was new in box and I ordered something new in box and this was opened, then you're in a little bit better spot. So, I don't know. I feel like it's like I feel like the way to avoid having Amazon problems is just to buy enough stuff from Amazon that they're willing to eat the loss on the fraud stuff that happens to you occasionally. But also, like, the third-party seller thing is it's a huge problem. It's like you don't buy shoes from Amazon because they're almost all like there's a huge number of fake shoes on Amazon at this point. Like, what are we going to do? Where are we supposed to buy stuff?
It's insane.
Yeah,
it's insane.
So what if people on Amazon, like they take it, they make it only to kind of like get a refund back from Amazon, just to say, hey, I bought this at the retail price at $300-$400, and then they're basically giving the fixed CPU and then trying to get the refund back. Is that's possible?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, that does happen.
Yeah.
That does happen sometimes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of fraud on Amazon and I assume everywhere, where the people doing the fraud assume that the person who's checking the returns won't know enough about the computer hardware to verify that it's like the CPU that you say you're returning. So they just put something in that looks close to it and send it back and hope for the best.
Right.
Which totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the people processing Amazon returns don't know the difference between a 2080 and a 4080. Just see like, yep, big graphics card, says RTX, good to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say the same from other known retailers like Newegg, though?
It's funny. Newegg charges a return fee still, right? Don't you pay like 10% or something on Newegg?
I think so. Yeah, restocking fees.
Yeah, so I assume that they have people testing stuff, which is the difference, right? So maybe, I mean, I know like Central does the same thing. So when you return something to Central, they literally put it in a machine and test it, and that's why they make returns a pain in the butt.
And that's the difference between general shopping. Like Amazon's a general shopping site, and Newegg and Central Computers are technology focused.
Yeah,
so
specialist.
they have people actually checking these.
Yeah.
Which I guess they need to if fakes like these are going around.
Well, I mean, the worst one I saw is that a lot of it is done by weight. So people will put something in and then fill it with lead weights to get it to the right weight to make the return work. Because like when you take it to the UPS store, they weigh the box and they're like, okay, this is close enough. Thumbs up, you're good to go. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
There was a lot of that going around when the pandemic, when all the cryptocurrency stuff was going on. People were doing that with graphics cards and just loading the boxes up with bricks, and people were getting freaking boxes full of bricks.
Yeah. Oh man, my new video card's here. I can't wait. I can't wait to try Shadows of the Tomb Raider. Oh man.
Literally bricked.
Yeah, literally.
Literally break.
So I guess buyer beware is the answer here, right? Don't buy don't buy CPUs from Facebook Marketplace and OLX and places like that.
It almost sounds like nowhere else is safe. Nowhere is safe.
Well, it's kind of it's kind of a bummer. Like I paid for college building Celeron 300A machines for people off of like I put signs on on the bulletin boards and the phone poles that were like, hey, need a computer? $800. Call my number and like I usually had enough parts around to put a computer together the next day and would send it off to people. And I don't know that I wouldn't buy a computer from somebody on a phone pole anymore.
No. It's back then, believe it or not, youngsters, that was actually socially acceptable, and usually the only way you could get a computer outside of going to like the local computer guy.
Well, yeah, it was like Gateway or Dell, and it would take 2 or 3 weeks, and it cost like $1,500. And like the signs that I hung up basically said, "Look, I'll beat Gateway." Right? Like, let me know what you want. I'll put it together. I'd go to the screwdriver shop across from town, or I'd order, a half tray of CPUs from somebody. And I had just a bunch of Celeron 300As all the time. And I even had a little flyer that would teach them how to overclock if they wanted to get, 1.5 times performance.
Smile, the full white glove. I love it.
Yeah, but look, no service. No customer service whatsoever. You buy it, you break it, it's your problem. I'm not gonna help. But yeah.
I think you could still buy used hardware. I would try to buy it locally. Like back when the pandemic was going on, I had a bunch of old GPUs and everyone was struggling. So I actually sold a lot of my older GPUs because I could get full retail price for something that I had bought 3 years prior. And I would like sell them to kids who like they were happy to be getting it for full retail. I would be happy to sell it for the price I paid 2 or 3 years ago. They were happy to get it for $300 less than what was being charged at the time. But doing it locally in person, I could be like, hey, is there any benchmarks you want me to run so I can show you that this is the actual one? And then, meet up with them. You can look at the sticker and say, oh, okay, that's definitely a 2080. That's not what I was selling. But
yeah,
in person locally, I think is still good to go. I'd be very nervous about buying something off the equivalent of Facebook Marketplace, which it sounds like this site is, and just having it shipped to me.
Yeah.
Or, like visit your local Micro Center, and we got Central Computers here in the Bay Area as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Does like your credit card fraud, like if you buy through an intermediary like Facebook Marketplace or something like that, does your credit card fraud protection protect you there? I don't think it does it?
I wouldn't think so, but I've only done Facebook stuff for cash. So
yes,
yeah,
same.
Yeah, I don't really do a lot of Facebook, so I've never used Facebook Marketplace. So anyway. There you go. Fraudulent Ryzen 7s, I guess, are out in the world.
Yeah, so don't buy stuff from phone pole ads, even Craigslist.
Hey, man. Look, why are you cutting into my business, Willis? Anybody wants to sell around 300A, they're vintage now. It's 3 times the price.
Yeah, so where are we at now? Don't buy Intel. Don't buy AMD via third-party marketplaces.
Yeah.
Don't buy the new Ryzens. Buy the old Ryzens.
Look, the only places to buy the Gordon Mong power supply company is getting into PCs later this year, starting with Lunar Lake, probably. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, it's scary out there, man. There's a lot of fraud. A lot of fraud. Do you want to take some questions? Do you want to turn some Q's into A's?
Let's get into some Q's and some A's. All right.
Man, we are flying through it today.
Well, look, there's only 3 of us, so it's a little faster. Look, I didn't. Willis was like, "Hey, please don't bring slides."
Did I say that?
No, you didn't. Willis was all about. Was like, "Look, we can do slides if you need them."
I need to figure out some sort of car analogy to yell about during the Q&A section. So
yeah,
hit me with the cues.
Or you can make unfortunate hand gestures. There's all sorts of things you can do.
Yeah. So right off the bat, from the live chat on YouTube, Ivan, our friend of the show, asked, "Is it safe to buy a PS5?"
Oh, like right now?
I guess. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the PS5 Pro rumors are omnipresent, I think, but I think, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what a PS5 Pro is going to like. The last gen, the Pros got you to 4K theoretically, kind of. And this gen, there's no equivalent bump. So presumably it's just going to be maybe everything runs at that 40 hertz perf quality mode. Yeah, I don't know.
If I'm not in the market for a PS5, but if I was, I would be happy just buying now and not caring about the PS4 Pro or PS5 Pro.
Yeah,
if you're a frame rate junkie, I think that if you're a frame rate junkie, you're probably on the PC already. If you are on the console, like, yeah, sure, wait a couple months, see if it happens. But I would rather just have, a PlayStation 5 under my TV right now so I can play Call of Duty next month rather than wait until Christmas.
Well, so the thing, chat, a friend of the show, Davina, in chat says PS Pro is supposed to be ray tracing monster, and then Liquid R follows up with it's supposed to be announced this month. I think your point is right? Like if you really care about perf, you're going to play that stuff on the PC. And also, to date, all of the first party PS5 games have ended up coming out, including like the last gen PS4 portovers, have all come out on the PC. The only one that I think is unannounced at this point is Astrobot, which is like their like it is a tightly integrated PS5 game. I think you probably have to play with the DualSense if it's like the previous iterations. So
people forget about Astrobot, but that thing sells gangbusters.
God, the one that they shipped with the PS5 was dope. It was really good. It had like crazy good leaderboards. There was some speed running action around it for a minute there. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, like I don't know. I played all of Tsushima. I played all of God of War, which I guess was a PS4 game that they then did the upscale treatment on. I'm waiting for Ragnarok later this month. Like I'm just playing I have a PS5 sitting by my desk that just quietly stays warm all the time, and maybe I'll fire it up for Astrobot, but I think I'm gonna wait and see if they're gonna release it on PC first.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys. So I recently started to replay Death Stranding again on the PS5. Only because I played it on the PS4. And I have the PS Plus membership, and I was like, the director's cut is kind of free on there. After you pay it, it's free. I thought going from PS4 to PS5, like graphics were good. You're getting at a solid 60 frames per second, and I was like, yeah, this is not bad. I don't think. I think it'll look good with like ray tracing and all that. But yeah, Brad, did you get a chance to play Death Stranding on NVIDIA?
On the PC.
On the PC, yeah.
On the PC, yeah. It's great. I love it. Like, it's very divisive, but I loved it.
Yeah, it's funny. This generation, the big takeaway for me this generation is that I don't think I need consoles that companies other than Nintendo makes anymore. Like I have an Xbox because I worked on a game that shipped on Xbox, and it was nice to have it to be able to test stuff. But like, all of the Microsoft stuff comes to Steam on day one, right? Or on Game Pass on the Windows Store. All of the PlayStation games come from anywhere from launch to 6 months later, maybe a year later. Turns out there's enough stuff coming out I can wait. I might be a no next gen consoles. Maybe I guess I'll sign up for a Switch 2 probably. Switch harder, whatever we're gonna call it. But yeah.
That's always been my philosophy. I've been a PC gamer. I grew up being a console and PC gamer. As an adult, I became primarily a PC gamer. But I always try to have the Nintendo console too, because that's the only place you can play the Nintendo games.
Yeah.
Now these days, it truly feels like with the cost of game development going up so high that Microsoft, Sony, all the major publishers are like, we're going to put this on PC sometime in the next year because we got to recoup some of those costs.
Yeah.
So. Like, I have an Xbox Series S, but that's only because I got it for $150 through a Verizon deal one day, and I just pay for Game Pass and play Game Pass games on my TV sometime.
Look, what you got was a controller, $150 controller with a bonus console.
Yes, exactly right.
Attached to it. Yeah.
All right, I got another one for you guys from over on Discord. Technological Nerd asks, should we bring back the turbo button, but it switches between low power, high efficiency mode, and high performance or zero efficiency mode?
Did we take this one last week, or did I talk about this on the other podcast?
No, we had something about this last week.
Similar.
I think that's where this question is coming from.
Oh, yeah. I love the idea of, so After last week's podcast, I went and looked at Ryzen Master to see if I could connect my Stream Deck up to Ryzen Master so I could have a button that makes it go from low power mode to high power mode, because you can do it on the fly. And you can.
That's a cool idea.
There's no way that I can figure out to do it right now. I mean, I'm sure I haven't gotten into like is there a command line way to do this? But yeah, like I would love that. The next level is to get like Nixie tubes that stick out of the top of your PC that show you what your current wattage is, like where your TDPs are at. But yeah,
if you figure out a way to do that, you got to do a video on that.
Oh, I spent a fairly ludicrous amount of time last Wednesday, like digging into the documentation for Ryzen Master to figure out if my guess is you can probably write a little program that'll do it, but I don't know for sure.
I love the idea though. Like we were talking last week. Like I love the idea of defaults being the actual default from now on. That's what they're doing with Intel now. Like people have been juicing the hell out of these motherboards and chips forever. I hate that. Like to get around that, man, just having a turbo button, hit it. Like if it's virtual, like I love physical buttons, but if you can have a virtual button, just say, hey, crank everything up one click. Like I would love it.
It's like the move to defaults is great. Like I am a huge fan, but also sometimes I would like to have, I'd like to get that PBO turned on, get a little bit of a boost there. But I don't want to have the PBO running all the time because I don't have air conditioning. I sit in a small room. I don't need a heater in my office. I mean, I had a 13900K for a long time. I've lived that life. It's better on the other side, it turns out. But yeah. So yeah, I'm all for bringing back. Look, nobody uses. Do you have your reset? I don't think my case has a reset switch on it. Like I just have a power button, and there's no reset. Or maybe it's like
I think it's the same thing for me. Yeah, it's just a button.
So we have a header. Why don't we just use that reset header for the turbo? Like bring back turbo. I'm all for it. I think it's a great idea.
Shift into turbo.
Yeah. Now the thing that we don't want to do is the bunk thing and make the turbo the actual clock speed and the slow the IBM PC compatibility. We don't want to go back to 8088 performance.
No.
That would be
bring it back with the VSII button.
No. We don't want the VSSI. We want VSSI off.
I mean, is it most cases, PC cases these days don't have the reset button anymore, or
I don't know.
Just certain budget PC cases?
Well, mine. So I have a Fractal Meshify Compact, and I think that I feel like none of the Fractals I've had have had a reset button in recent memory, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, it's not like I wouldn't take it for granted that a case has a reset button these days. Like if that's something you care about, I would make sure that it does. But I wouldn't say it's gone away either.
It's weird because my BIOS, either one of the BIOSes on one of the machines I work on the regular reg has the ability to reset what the reset header does. So like I think you can change it between the BIOS reset, like the reset BIOS kind of hotkey where you press it down and hit the power button and it wipes your BIOS if you have overclocking problems. There were a couple other things. You can turn the lights on and off with it, I think is one of the other options. I can't remember. It's weird. It's a weird, like there's value in having a physical button for things. This is the takeaway. So yeah.
That being said, to be fair, I mean, the only time I really use the physical buttons on my PC is like when a game crashes and I hard lock. And in those cases, the reset button doesn't even usually work anyway. You have to do the hard powered push down the power down button.
Yeah. Or you just reach around behind the back with your foot and hit the toggle on the power supply. I don't know. I want more buttons. I want more physical buttons. What you need, like for the turbo button though, is like you need like one of those red flip up ones with the a good toggle under there or something.
Like the fighter plane switches.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a crank down.
Man, I'm glad it still exists. I did back in the day, right before I stopped working on Maximum PC. I did like the ultimate guide to modding. I used to be big into modding cases. I did like a 5,000 word article that interviewed like Bill from MNPC Tech and a bunch of other modders, and just like the coolest damn article I ever wrote. It's one of my favorites. Unfortunately, when Maximum PC got sucked into PC Gamer, I wrote thousands of articles over a couple of years, and only 5 still exist, and that's not one of them.
God.
But fortunately, Gizmodo had syndicated that from him, so it still exists on the internet somewhere.
Oh, that's good. A lot of the Maximum PC stuff is on archive.org. I dug into my physical magazine archive the other day to pull something out for a video that Willis and I are going to shoot in a little bit. And I was like, none of these, these are, they're all on books.google and archive.org, but all the content's gone from the website now. The web is ephemeral, it turns out.
Yeah, alas.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, there's a question also from Ivan R. asking, what's the future of written tech journalism? In other words, is written tech journalism actually screwed?
Oh, man. I hope not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know,
I
Brad.
work for a written tech journalism website, so I also hope not. I don't think so. I think this is probably related to an Antec shutting down last week, which is a major, major bummer. Made me very sad.
Yeah.
Ryan and Gavin over there, they're awesome. Like, it's too bad that they couldn't figure out a way to make that work, because it was a hell of a resource, always has been. It's a shame to see it shut down. But there was a lot of talk. Ian did a video, Ian Cuttress, friend of the show, talking about how he thinks, a lot of the in-depth technical content is moving to YouTube these days. Like with Gamers Nexus, with him, with Tech Potato, that's him.
Yeah.
Hardware Unboxed, which I agree with. I think there is a lot of people who go to YouTube first now. But on the flip side, there are a lot of people who don't want to sit there and watch a 35-minute video. They want to have the article and be able to skim through it, dig into the numbers. See, I'm one of those people. I do both, but like on review days when things come out, I go and look for a bunch of written articles first so I can read them all before I have to sit down to hour-long YouTube videos. And I think that especially written tech journalism isn't dead if you expand your scope beyond just the full nerd kind of enthusiast stuff. Like the PCWorld website is more of a generalist website. Like we're telling people what to do with their laptop, and these are the antivirus settings you can change, stuff like that. And I think that's always going to have a place. And we do tech deep dives too. We just did it today with the new Qualcomm chip that was announced today, and yesterday with Lunar Lake. So I think there's still a healthy future for it, or I wouldn't be working here.
I gotta say, I love that Steve over at Gamers Nexus has started posting written, gamersnexus.net is a website with written content on it that lines up with the video, and I love this because that means I can get the stuff that I want from either place, right? I can read the big long written article, because sometimes you're right. Sometimes it's awesome to just be able to skim through and hit the parts that you need to know about, because you only have 20 minutes to read something and you can't watch an hour-long video. I tend to agree with you. Like, there's always trends in media, and right now written stuff is a little bit devalued. The price of ads on written content are not where they used to be, especially if you're not like one of the top one or two or three resources in a particular vertical, and that hurts the other thing that hurt an Antec, frankly, is that Future owns Tom's Hardware and owned an Antec. And when you're a big publisher and you accidentally end up with two of the same thing, the big one wins and the little one loses, and that sucks for an Antec. Like it feels like bad business to me to take away something that's been there for 27 years.
Me too.
But yeah, I think seeing folks like Steve come in and like consciously start doing written content because they're like, hey, we need to have written content. And I don't think I have an ad blocker running on my tablet here. I don't think he even runs ads on this. I think this is like an ad-free, like this is all just funded by the YouTube channel, which is amazing. So yeah, I think we'll see a return. We're just at the low point of that kind of trend cycle right now, and people out here holding it down. So
I'm a big proponent and believer in historical record, keeping things around for posterity. I like the fact that you can Google and find the PCWorld article that drove Satoshi into hiding from all those years ago. You can Google and find stuff, not from the start of the magazine, because the internet didn't exist when PCWorld started, but the start of the internet era. Like, we have stuff to go back to that. And I'm a big believer in that. I love what the archive team and archive.org and the Wayback Machine does. And I don't trust Google to necessarily keep those YouTube videos forever. So I like having both.
Yeah, well, it's good to archive it yourself, if nothing else. There's
Yeah.
there's also, if you're a writer, I never did this because I was a stupid writer back then, but now I would probably do this. There's a couple of services that you can use to archive your old work, your like all your bylines, and you just feed it. I'm unable to find the page right now. I'm looking for it, but you feed it your like author page on whatever blog or website or whatever you work on, and it'll pull all the URLs and kind of do the read it later treatment to it and give you a permanent archive of them, which is nice.
For what it's worth, I can't share too much, but PCWorld has been getting stronger every month in a lot of metrics for years at this point, couple of years. So we're seeing the opposite trend here at PCWorld, but it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. The one thing I will say is just shout out to Future for promising to keep the Anantech website running.
Yeah,
because that like losing, it's funny. When I do the like this month in PC World videos on YouTube Shorts fairly regularly, well, like one a week basically, and often being able to go back to like the 1996 video, 1997 video or article on Anantech is incredibly useful for giving me some points of comparison for like what PC World was talking about then versus what the internet was talking about then and how things have changed. So
yeah. Such a bummer. That hurts my heart.
Yep.
Hypothetically, if a company cuts a publication, how do they preserve? How would one preserve an archive of the publication?
Well,
the site itself.
So Archive Team, the Internet Archives Archive Team, has been doing this for decades at this point. Like they are like a strike team of scrapers and archivers, and what they do is they have software that they point at the base URL, and then it just starts robot scraping all of the other URLs underneath that, and then stuff that they miss they can go back and pull from like Google Cache or Internet Archive and stuff like that. And the idea is to get as quickly as possible a snapshot of all the content on a website at the moment it stopped existing. So I think they did that when like South Park Studios, the thing that the Trey Parker and Matt Stone had with all of the old South Parks on it when Paramount was, or Viacom, Paramount I guess, just shut that down out of nowhere a couple of months ago. They're like, hey, this is going to go away in 3 days. They went in and scraped off all that stuff and then archived it. It's all on Internet Archive now as its own collection.
Yeah,
so,
it's cool. I follow Jason, I forget his name, Text Files
Jason Scott
on Twitter. Jason Scott.
Yeah.
And you'll see whenever these announcements get made, he'll just say, archive key, would you kindly archive whatever site is going through this? If you get a warning for it, and then they jump right on it. Internet Archive is a nonprofit, right?
Uh-huh.
They need so much, like, they're such a great resource for the web. Like, if you use that at any point, try to toss them a few dollars. They need to stick around. It's not cheap.
Well, or if you don't have money to spend, like join the archive team. There's lots of volunteer positions. They always have more stuff coming in than they can actually curate. So like they don't just archive internet. Like one of the things that they love to get is old home movies. So they love to get home movies. They love to get recordings of like TV, including commercials and stuff from the VHS times from the 80s and 90s, because there's a lot of interesting stuff in those. Like watching, turns out I was ripping some old VHS tapes a few weeks ago. The ads are way more interesting than whatever I had on the tapes, because 90s ads are freaking weird, man. People all over the place back then.
Crossfire.
but they're always saving all that stuff. Like they're trying to save all of the digital ephemera of our lives and of our time. So anyway, and there's a lot of volunteer, like the archive team, like literally joining the archive team is as simple as copying some tools on your machine and then running the scripts, like basically joining a swarm of things that are scraping these sites as fast as possible.
Right on. Definitely need to, keep archive.
Yeah.
Keep archiving. A couple more and we can get out of here. Let's see. Over on Discord, Mother Sparkles asks, did the Ryzen 5000 series have any uplift from this Windows update, the 2H24 business?
Ryzen 5000. I didn't see benchmarks on 5000 series. I saw benchmarks on Zen 4, but not Zen 3. I think 7000. I think the assumption is that the further back you go, the less uplift you were going to see each generation. But I don't know. I didn't actually see any numbers from anybody who'd gone all the way back.
I think Paul Alcorn over at Tom's might have done it.
I'm looking now. What's the I I put the KB in the show notes on the other podcast I do, but I don't see. Oh, the other thing, while you're looking at that, the other thing that that is happening with the NANDs that I'm very happy about is that the forums remain. So they're going to keep the forums up and active because that community is very active still. So,
Postmortem. Okay, let's see. I just pulled up the site finally. No, they didn't. Alas. Yeah. I'm not sure if anybody has tested that yet. I haven't. I don't know of any numbers. I thought maybe it was there.
It's a lot of. I mean, it's a lot of. From the time that came out until now, we probably barely, depending on how many machines people had set up and ready to go, if they even had machines set up and ready to go, it's a lot of benchmarking to find out.
Did Ryzen 5000 and Ryzen 7000 have the same basically underlying architecture too? I think so.
I thought 7000 was first. I thought one was Zen 3 and one was Zen 4.
Okay, I might be wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of uplift out of it. Like, it's coming to your PC anyway. When it comes out in the Windows update, you're gonna get it if your games start running faster. Great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Zen 3 is 5000. These are Gordon questions.
I usually know all these stuff, but what was Zen 5? 4 years ago?
It's a long time
I
ago
forget
now.
it after that.
Yeah, Zen 3. I feel like Zen 4 was the big change, right? And
Yeah.
Zen 3 was the when they first had the multiple parts on the under the same heat spreader. Anyway,
We haven't tested that. And I'm not aware of any other site that has yet either. Simply because of the timing involved with all this. Like, all this is happening around the Intel bug stuff. IFA's going on in Germany right now. Like, it takes a lot of planning and traveling and stuff to go to that. There's pre-briefs involved, like all last week, stuff like that, for all the laptops being announced, all that kind of stuff. So a lot, like, this is a very busy time. So I expect to see. I would be shocked if Hardware and Box didn't do some big deep dive into that. It just takes time.
Yeah, that was. I went and looked at Hardware Unboxed. I did not see anything.
Yeah, not yet.
It's too much hardware right now. Honestly, it's just a lot.
A lot of hardware.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Gotten a lot of white in my beard this year.
I got. Will, do you have any?
That's it for me.
That's
I
me.
think,
Okay,
I think
I got one more for you guys. It's
Okay.
gonna be a fun one, and I want Adam and Alex to ask this one when they're in Germany too. But they can repeat this. So, from Ivan R over on Discord, Superman or Batman?
Oh man, it's got to be Batman. Superman sucks. Sorry, Brad.
Why the hate?
You got a Z on.
Wow.
Why do you have a Z on your shoulder? It looks like the Superman logo, but it's a Z. Yeah, really Superman though.
That was always just what people called me when I was younger, because I used to jump off of buildings and climb trees and jump off of those stuff like that. So.
Hardcore, man.
Yeah, but like Batman does that when he has no power. Like, Batman's just a guy. His power is he's really rich. I mean, so I guess it's kind of like, powers versus, I don't know. They both. This is why I'm a Marvel guy.
To me, it's the ideological differences. Like, Batman's just some rich dude who beats up on people, and I like Batman, but at the core, I'm somewhat uncomfortable with that. Superman's like trying to do the right thing. He's a journalist trying to expose the truth and all that kind of stuff, and I dig it.
Well, I am pro Superman's journalism background. I'm anti Batman's essentially freelance policing, and yeah, it's a difficult situation.
I was gonna say, under this economy, it's actually nice to be Batman or Bruce Wayne in a sense.
Well, in
2024, Bruce Wayne is just a millionaire. He's no longer a billionaire.
I know.
It's like
Still,
one of my all-time favorite Reddit posts was the breakdown of Batman's impact if he had spent billions of dollars on social programs versus beating up people in alleys. And the impact would have been dramatically greater if he just, did UBI for all of Gotham, and it made crime not the easiest way to get paid in Gotham. So
Wonderful. I wish I would have read that.
Yeah, I was always a Flash guy. That was my DC guys. I'm a Flash guy.
Yeah, Flash guy.
He's real fast. It's good to be fast, right? No downside.
Yeah. That's what I always say. This might be TMI, but whenever I'm dating and ladies are like, "Why do you got a Superman tattoo?" It's because I'm faster than a speeding bullet.
Hey.
Whoa. Whoa. Is it working out for you so
Just
much,
told me
or
that.
not so much?
Hit or miss. Very much hit or miss. But I crack up every time I do it.
Look, it's a good filter. It's a good sieve, right? You know at the end whether they're going to be on the right team or not.
I would, as much as I like Batman, I would, if it was like, okay, who can I choose between like having abilities, right? I probably choose, obviously Superman, because I like flight, so I would like to just have the freedom to fly around.
I think the flight thing would be annoying. Like, you think of how damp you'd be after flying through a cloud. You're like, oh god, it's so clammy. It's really uncomfortable.
If I had to pick any superpower, I'd pick Nightcrawlers, because then I would be a supervillain and rob every bank.
Oh, there you go.
Well, here's the start of Brad's origin story.
Yeah,
origin build.
Brad, full evil. Yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, all of the superpowers come with something bad, right? Like you want to be Spider-Man, you gotta somebody you love is gonna get killed. You want to be the Flash, somebody you love is gonna get killed. You want to be Superman, somebody you love is gonna get killed. Wait, hold on. There's a recurring theme here. Maybe, yeah, maybe it's not good.
Now it makes sense that Disney bought Marvel.
That's
Mom
true.
always does.
Yeah. Anyway, I think might as well wrap it up there, right?
Yeah.
We're not gonna go further down the hole. We angered all of the Marvel people and all of the DC people. So
I need to rein myself in. I've shared entirely too much information about my personal life the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, when Adam gets to ask this question in Germany with the German team over on our sister site in PCWorld, I want to hear their answers as well. But Superman or Batman or I don't know.
Dr. Doom.
Dr. Doom.
play some Fortnite, Brad. He's in this season.
Okay, Brad, why don't you take us out of here?
All right. Thank you for tuning into The Full Nerd. I'm doing this off the cuff, so it's going to be horrible. If you're listening to this on YouTube, watching us on YouTube, thank you. Give it a like. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the usual stuff. Give us a like there too. Every time you do, maybe we can get through an episode in just over an hour. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm Brad Charkis, joined today by Will Smith.
Thanks, Brad. It was good to be here.
I agree. And Willis Lai will close us out.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in on a weird Wednesday for us. And we will see you next time. But next week will be Adam taking over the helm on The Full Nerd again over in Germany. So be sure to check that out. We will see you next time. Bye.